Last week, we told you that RT's Steve Malzberg would be adding Monday to his weekly Thursday appearance on the show. Well, he needs to discuss what happened over the weekend in the world of media, including, of course, the Sunday news shows. Well, we bring in Steve Malzberg, who has a whole slew of things over the weekend, as even since Thursday night's debate, I think we could have done a show Friday completely about this. But I want to start out calling out a former MSNBC host for their coverage of Russiagate.
Yeah, thanks, Scotty. You know, I like to call this one of the pleasant surprises. On HBO's Real Time with Bill Maher Friday night, Krystal Ball, former NBC host, now with The Hill, she blasted MSNBC, her former network, for how they covered Russiagate.
The Russia story and what happened there was important, but it was not all important. And they went so far in the realm of conspiracy theorizing. I mean, they had Jonathan Chait on.
Well, it was a conspiracy.
But they had Jonathan Chait on to talk about how Trump may have been a Russian plant since 1987.
He may have been.
This is ridiculous, okay? This is way out from what journalistic facts said.
She will not be invited to the alumni Christmas party, that's for sure. And I was also pleasantly surprised, Scotty, when the host of CBS's Face the Nation, Margaret Brennan, said this to Congresswoman Ilhan Omar after several minutes of a love fest of an interview. Watch.
And at a ground zero, remembrance ceremony, I'll call it, the son of one of the victims stood up and specifically called out language you had used in the past that he characterized as not respectful when referring to the 3,000 people who were killed by al-Qaeda. You said some people did something, and he put it right there on his T-shirt. Do you understand why people found that offensive?
I think that's pretty, for that show and for her, that's pretty hard-hitting, Scotty, you have to admit. Now, on Saturday, the New York Times ran a story which is the ultimate in fake news by omission. The New York Times, two Times writers who coincidentally happen to be authors of a book on Justice Brett Kavanaugh, which comes out tomorrow. Now, the Times story was mostly about accusations that were raised during the Supreme Court confirmation hearings, but they added this in the story. Let's look. A classmate, Max Stier, saw Mr. Kavanaugh with his pants down at a different drunken dorm party where friends pushed his, I hate to say this, his penis into the hand of a female student. Mr. Stier, who runs a nonprofit in Washington, notified senators and the FBI about his account, but the FBI didn't investigate, and Stier has declined to discuss it publicly. But then Molly Hemingway of The Federalist, who had seen a copy of the book, tweeted this out. The book notes quietly that the woman Max Stier named as having been supposedly victimized by Kavanaugh and friends denies any memory of the alleged event. Seems significant. Yeah, significant. How the heck do you leave that out of your story? Now, today the Times did mention the woman doesn't remember the incident in an editor's note, but that already unleashed and opened the gates for stuff like this from MSNBC's Jason Johnson Sunday with Joy Reid. Watch.
I've never heard of a guy who's a one-time rapist. I've never heard of a guy who's a one-time sexual assaulter. I grew up with guys like this. He's from around this area, right? He's the fifth guy in a gang rape, okay? He's the guy who comes in after he's drunk because everybody else encourages him. He can get away with it. He's been pretty much covered his entire life.
Yeah, so, and now you got presidential candidates calling for his impeachment. You have discussions going on and on and on every network. And by the way, the woman doesn't remember this alleged incident, so duh?
Well, we're going to actually continue the discussion. Thank you for actually bringing that up, Steve, and we will see you back here on Thursday, as I'm sure we'll have a whole plethora of subjects, too.
Hey, YouTube, thanks for checking out our channel. We hope you enjoyed the video. We have tons of content for you just like this. For more of RT America's one-of-a-kind news and analysis, be sure to subscribe and never stop questioning more.